Hello everyone and welcome to the Action Figuratorium. My name is Mark Major. I'm a real big toy collector here in Southeast Portland. I'm also an old school sales and marketing guy. I used to sell guitars out on the killing room floor, writing receipts by hand onto paper. That was a long time ago. Now we don't even use cash. In fact, I buy everything with my good looks. You'll be happy to know, those of you who are fans of Allen Ginsberg. Now, today we're going to be looking at another Kickstarter. Why? Because it's another day, another Kickstarter. This is the Longbox Heroes. This is actually Wave 2 that is going to play very heavily into the analysis because they've already done, of course, Wave 1. It's successful. I'm pretty sure I've seen the figures out there in the wild. It's definitely going to factor into what I have to say about the campaign. For the most part, let's just cut to the chase. I think this thing is going to fund, despite the fact that it probably doesn't meet all my best practices. I don't think this is the kind of campaign that really does that, but I am going to make some suggestions, of course, my own personal kind of opinion of what I think they could do to make even more money with this campaign, and that might be interesting. That might be worth checking out. So you guys, you come together, you strap on the leather, you know what you're doing today, you're going to hold on tight. All right, it's time to cut over to desktop view. I know it always looks like I'm doing something really complicated down here. It's the Stream Deck. It blows my mind. Here we go, people. So this is on the website of Fresh Monkey Fiction. Another way of kind of just saying Big Bad Toy Store. They pretty much work with Big Bad Toy Store now exclusively on their Big Bad Workshop. But this is from a couple years ago, this campaign, Longbox Heroes. Longbox, of course, is the name of those cardboard boxes in comic book shops that they, of course, put the comics in. They're long and they're kind of have a certain height and they're a certain width and they're, yeah. Anyways, rather than say comic book heroes or page punchers, they're calling them Longbox Heroes. I think that's kind of an interesting name, especially if you're into this. Now, I remember when this came out, this pre-order campaign, because I don't think this went to Kickstarter. I think this was just you went to a web page and you put in a pre-order. They just gathered up people's money. I remember this because I'm a big fan of Madman. He is the top guy in the center there in the white with the red lightning bolt. For those of you that are not familiar with him, he's created and drawn by Mike Allred, who is a fantastic artist, storyteller. And in fact, here, let's go big, people. This book right here, this is the one you should get. This is one of my all-time favorite comics. This is one of the top 5 comics in my opinion. It's up there with like Watchmen and Frank Miller's Dark Knight and several other quite good comics. Big recommend that, and you know, I could probably recommend a few others as well, but really love Madman. And in fact, I have a 6-inch guy, and I made my own custom 12-inch guy, and I made a Madman van, and I'm really into it. But remember this came out, but these guys are only 5 inches, right? So they're not the 3.75 like O-Ring G.I. Joes. They're not the 6-inch Marvel Legends Black Series guys. I think they're made to kind of go with those 80s DC superheroes, those superpowers guys, I think is what they're made to sort of fit in with. I don't know why they went with 5 inches on this. If they would have just went with 6-inch figures, even though they're only 5 points of articulation, they're just basically, you know, tchotchkes. I think they probably would do a lot better, personally, if they were in a scale that just fit with other stuff. Or if they went to 375, they would be kind of like a cool reaction figure. But, you know, so this is important to show off Wave 1 because, as you're going to see, they're going to reuse most, if not all, of these bucks. Let's take a look at the Kickstarter now. Here we go. This is Longbox Heroes Wave 2. Just going to kind of scroll down through the offerings. It's just sort of more of the same characters. You know, there's like, now there's a different tick. He's a radioactive tick. They're showing off some of the Wave 1 guys. More Rocketeers. The Rocketeer's girlfriend, Betty. See, here he is. He's the same buck as Wave 1, but now he's translucent green. I think this guy's new. This is a reused body. I think this is a reused body. This is a reused body. This is a reused body with an extra part added. That's a reuse. I think this Savage Dragon is new. And this guy's a sort of a hedge ninja, is kind of a tick. Foot soldier, army builder guy. Got Hollow Fire, don't actually know who she is. Here's what the packaging looks like. Looks like the other stuff. It's real simple. Works. There's a blank slate. That's probably some kind of an unlock. There's a mystery figure. Don't know. Who knows? We'll find out. In Duluth, Georgia. Death Defier. Don't know. Some stretch goal. A couple of henchmen. You know. Safety Madman. That looks kind of cool. I wouldn't mind scooping up something like that. So they got a bunch of stuff that that's what the Wave 1 guys look like, that they're going for. You know, it's a full-fledged campaign, a lot of figures. And let's go to the rewards, shall we? Basically, any one of these figures is $25, $25 for Savage Dragon. Savage Dragon is a character by Eric Larson, real popular, should do well. Has already sold 49 of the Savage Dragon and 9 of the other one. We've got the Rocketeers, 33. The Betty action figure, only 7. I'd probably buy just that, personally. Kevin Matchstick is Wagner. It's his character. I recognize some of these guys. Of course, there is the Wave 2 full assortment. I haven't actually done the math, but I'm assuming that you probably get you know, some money off. But if it's just all these added up to $275, what's the point? You always got to do some kind of carrot and a stick, people, and I'm going to bring that up next. So, typically what I do on these guys is I will apply my best practices of marketing to the campaign, and the best practices of marketing are: number 1, you need 3 tiers, standard, deluxe, luxury. Number 2, you need a wide selection. Of course, it does mean bigger overhead, more stuff to do, more stuff to make, but the wider the selection of stuff, the bigger the sales, the more things there are to snag people on. The third thing is always have your best sales marketing stuff on the page. Don't make people look on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Tumblr and all sorts of crap places looking for the coolest picks. Put everything here that needs to be here. You got one chance to grab people when they show up at the Kickstarter, because they like, oh, what's this about? And if you don't have them, you don't have them. So, the best practices don't necessarily apply to this per se. They could have come up with something if they wanted to. They could have come up with a luxury figure or a deluxe figure. But this is really all about kind of like a reaction figure. It's all about people who are fans of these characters just buying the figure that they like. It's kind of a tchotchke grab. There's the fans of the Savage Dragon are going to buy that. The fans of the Tick are going to buy the Tick. Fans of the Rocketeer are going to buy the Rocketeer. That's the way this thing kind of works, is you get a whole bunch of different creators together into one line, right? And you get a whole bunch of different sources, and they all feed one rain barrel, and the goal is to fill up the rain barrel. And that goal in this case is $150,000. They're at $27.85. $27,850, I should say, as of the posting of this video. And I do believe that they're probably going to make it. Why? Because that other thing funded, they got their minimum order quantities down. Also, these are probably going to go up as a pre-order on Big Bad Toy Store, so expect to drop another $75,000 in the tank from them. It's definitely going to make a difference. So I'm predicting that they really only need to raise about another 50 grand in the next 30 days on this Kickstarter, and the rest will come from Big Bad and maybe some other retailers, that kind of thing. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a success. Again, these are all known characters by somebody. Somebody out there knows who these guys are, and they'll sell enough of them, especially if the guys who are the creators of this are out there promoting their figure. It should do well. Now, some things that they could have done to do even better, to make even more money, to have a more successful campaign. First of all, There is no, from what I can tell, realistic looking discounts on these guys. There's no like, you know, I mean, honestly, I think 25 is probably the new 20, but I think they should have made these 20 bucks, and if they don't, they should make it where you buy 5, they're 20 bucks each. So you get people to try to bump people up to spending 100 bucks on this. Pay $100, get 5 figures. I think that would be the first thing you want to do, is come up with some sort of carrot and stick incentives of buying a bunch of these. Second thing, you've got all these different creators involved in this with their characters. Prime way to go nuts with all the different tchotchkes that involve all the different characters in it in some way. I'm talking about a poster with all these characters drawn in it. The same design on a t-shirt with all these characters on it. This is just ripe to make extra stuff. That's what comic book characters and comic book creators who create this stuff are really good at. They should just have all these characters all interacting with each other on all sorts of different types of stickers and posters and shirts and cups and apparel and trading cards and stuff. They should really go ham on the Longbox Heroes. They should try to make a Longbox Hero universe of sorts for the campaign of just things to sell. I think it's a big mistake in just only having action figures for sale. Now, in regards to these figures, most of these action figures, this is kind of the only time you can sort of get an action figure of these, but not necessarily true of some of these. For example, Madman has had different figures made of him before. Same thing with the Tick. Look at this. I just found this recently at the thrift store by my house for a couple bucks. Of course, he's got a broken antennae, and of course his, you know, middle part is you know, aged to a different color. But this guy was on an animated TV show, and this guy was also on a live action show. And so they've made Tick figures before, and they've made Rocketeer figures before. Executive Replicas, Loose Collector does a Rocketeer Betty Page. So some of this stuff is not really the character, as far as getting him in action figure form, is not necessarily that rare. I have to point that out. It's the kind of thing where people just, you know, like I didn't buy the last Madman because I've got some of that stuff. I don't need, I mean, it's not that I wouldn't want it. I would definitely love to take it if somebody offered it to me, but I wasn't there to like buy it because, you know, I've got a 6-inch dude, why do I need a 5-inch guy, that kind of thing. So you're going to run into a little bit of that, but shouldn't be too bad. But I just think that they really missed the ball on selling extra stuff to go along with it. If you've got all these characters together, here, why not for the campaign? Here's a chance to just, you know, slap them all together. You know, you have everybody kind of work together, all these artists, in putting their characters together on the page with each other's characters. I think that would be the way to go. So that's about all I've really got for this. I think it's a success. Good luck to them. I think they're going to do great. Look forward to seeing these actual action figures out there in the wild. It should be pretty cool. So with that, thanks to everybody who made it this far into the video. And of course, the liking, the subscribing. You do that on your own time. But in the meantime, people, please stay charged.